Thank you very much for your introduction. I'd like to thank the organizing committee and the PI family for inviting us to this great meeting. We appreciate the hospitality, and it's not my first time to India. This is my 10th time, but every time I come, I find the hospitality, the friendliness is really very much appreciated. I'm going to talk to you about a topic that is perhaps non-traditional, not clinical. So I think there is going to be something in this for each and every one of us. And you can see what the topic is going to be about us as individuals, but equally, hopefully, we'll see as we go on the discussion, it's going to be an aspect that perhaps helps our organizations as a whole. The word leadership is echoed in every corridor of any institute. And I would really hope to start with just sharing with you some concepts. I'll map for you some foundations. Can I forward, please? It's not going. Okay, sorry. I'll share with you some foundational key concepts in this presentation. You're going to hear me talking about aspects that relate to discipline. Perhaps a better word for it is a habit. Effectiveness, what it means, I'll define it and perhaps go to the roots and levels of effectiveness. We'll talk about paradigm, principle, what is the paradigm, and what the principles that relate to effectiveness. Then at an institutional level, we'll talk about issues that perhaps are what I call chronic problems in every institute, and I hope you'll see and agree with me on perhaps a roadmap to which hopefully involves a whole person paradigm, a whole person solution that will contain our mind, our body, our heart, and the spirit. So here is a poem by Samuel Smiles. He's a physician and an author from Scotland of the last century. And it goes simply, I'm sure you read it by now, sow a thought and reap a destiny. Everything starts with how we think, and that really determines our destiny. And you can see in between there, reaping a habit. That habit is a discipline that hopefully we'll go and talk about. But if we want to develop a habit or a discipline, what is it? What are its components, so to speak? I'd like to urge you to think about it on 3 different parameters, 3 circles, and the intersection of these is where we really talk about disciplines, a discipline in general. The first relates to knowledge, skill. Most people will expect the third one to be attitude. Not very far, but is the desire. The knowledge, what to, why to, then the skills, how to do whatever we want to do, and perhaps the most important element is the wanting to do this aspect. Let's start with effectiveness. How do we define these? I'm sure there is so many ways. I did not use the word success here for a very good intentional purpose. It means something different for everybody. Some people it is money, some people it's status, some people it's glamour, and so on and so forth. Effectiveness, perhaps you have also read the definition by now, is getting the same thing that you want continuously, or even better than whatever it is, but having clarity about what it is that you want. To expand on this a bit more, I'm going to share with you what I would call the roots of effectiveness. And here is a story that goes, I'm sure you have heard it before, Aesop's and fairy tales, the goose and the golden eggs. It goes like a farmer had a farm, and there was a goose that laid for him eggs. He takes it to the market in exchange for other goods that he wants. One day, he finds a yellow egg. He takes it to the market, and to his surprise, it gave him more money than what he used to get for the white usual eggs. Happy as he was, he went back home with a lot more things, so they were happy. The following day, the same thing happens. The third day, again, this golden egg exchanged for a lot more money. Then a thought came to his mind, hey, rather than going and coming every day with this golden egg, why don't I slaughter this goose? And I'm sure the rest of the story you know. I'd like you to think of a production capability that this goose was producing and the eggs being the result. If we're talking about effectiveness, we're talking about getting golden eggs every day. What do we need to do for that? Care for the goose. And here, you take this metaphor a bit further, you can be thinking about our individuals as being the production capability of getting that result, looking after ourselves to get the result. Okay, where effectiveness starts? I'm sure it starts with character, the roots. It starts within ourselves, not with the others. But why is then the personality so much appearing above the ground? That's what people see first. The first thing that we all notice is hits us in the face. What the world sees is the tree. How many of us really think about the roots? And I'd like you to challenge yourself at this stage that character is not seen, but especially in early relationships, is the most important element in having the wonderful, nice tree that we might see in the tell. True strength of individual is the foundational. And as such, if we have the foundation weak, weak roots will give us weak trees. Strong roots, strong trees. I talked about effectiveness as being in the center. It applies to us in individuals. Disciplines apply not only to individuals as a matter of fact, but it also teams and organizations. Effective individuals make effective teams, and in turn, the effective organization. After all, I hope you agree with me that an organization is only as effective as its individuals within it. What I'd like you to notice from this, it is an in-out. It starts with us as individuals before it applies to our teams and then to the wider real aspects of what an organizational effectiveness is all about. And hopefully you'll see this context of inside out as we progress in this presentation. Let me then perhaps move to a different concept. What determines these results that we're talking about? We get them at work, we get them at home. Most people would say it's our behaviors. How do we see things? Come at a later stage. I'll give you an example. You're going into a building, you find the door, you want to open the door, you keep pushing, turn the knob, push. Once, it's not giving way. Twice, it's not giving way. You see the word pull. You pull the door, wow. Now the door is open and you can go through. If you want to have a different result, I would like to challenge you that we have to change not only the way that we do things, but how we see them. And I'm sure you might have heard the term, the phrase, need for a paradigm shift. All our politicians talk about it. All our leaders keep talking about it. What is a paradigm? I trust I have shown you with and demonstrated with you that the concept of the see. And if we want to go and define it next, it's the way we see, understand, and interpret the world. It's our mental map. So think of it as a window. Think of it as glasses in front of your eyes. Developing a new discipline, or a habit for that matter, is more than just doing things differently. It's about seeing things differently. Let's say you want to get to the store and you have seen that this word made the whole difference to you. I'd like to challenge you. If you really want to have a quantum leap in results, a difference, you're not happy with what you're getting, you can change your behaviors. Improve your behaviors will improve the result. But if you really want a quantum leap in better results, change the mindset. Change the way you see things. So another word for the word see in the see, do, get is the paradigm that hopefully is well explained by now. It's compared to the window that we have. And then as a matter of fact, when we are young, we have a very clean window. But the world corrupts us, messes our windows, the way we see the world. We get conditioned by many things. And unfortunately, as we grow, our experiences shape our behaviors, accordingly, our results. I think you can take this see, do, get paradigm and think of a number of things. Think about poor outcomes. You might feel like your people are not behaving, are not getting good results. The next thing you're going to be doing, look at it, what your behaviors, you might be micromanaging them. Then improving this gets you nowhere. Improving your behaviors, yes, but if you improve the way you see things higher up, it changed the whole world. As you have seen here, in the center of all these disciplines, there is principles. So what are principles? Here is another thing that we want to talk about. Effective people base their paradigms on principles of effectiveness. When we talk about a principle, we really talk about things that are timeless, universal, self-evident. Whether we work, whether we like it, whether we understand them or not, they are there, they exist. They are not temporary. They are not situational. They are not subjective. We all agree on things. Fairness, justice. If I give you one example from biology, talking about human body needs nutrients to survive. Thinking about it, timeless. It's not temporary. Did our ancestors require it? Will 100 years in the future, future people will need nutrients to survive? The answer is categorically yes. It's universal. It's not situational. Does every human being needs nutrients? The answer is categorically yes. Self-evident. I'm sure you'll agree with me. Did we make up this law of nutrition? Not open to other interpretations. We don't invent them. That is what principles are. And if we're looking at these disciplines, you can see here a long list of principles. Think about the first one relating to responsibility, choice, accountability, initiative, all principles. I'm going to take, it is that particular first line that hopefully I'll build on the next case to demonstrate where paradigms are, how we see things, how we do things accordingly, and how we get our results. The first real aspect relates to proactivity, being proactive. The second line talks about having clarity about where we want to go, a vision and a commitment and a purpose that we're going towards things. The third relates to putting priorities, putting first things first. You might have heard about the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. These are the concepts, by and large, the principles that has been working on. And these first 3 principles are related to our individual, what he, Stephen Covey, calls them private victory. Moving on to, if you want to start going into, I talked about individual, teams, organizations. Going into teams, we really talk about mutuality, trying to have a mutual benefit, a win-win, a mindset, thinking of win-win, I win, you win. Moving to the next to apply this, the behavior relates to creativity, perhaps more mutual understanding, courage, communication, the central of it. And then the synergy element of coming up with some creative ideas, not your way, not my way, not halfway, but really come together with a completely creative, different way to try and see how we can make things a bit better and different. And the last element really relates to principles of effectiveness relating to our individual renewal, the mind, body, heart, and spirit. And I'll come and show this later on as our discussion for organizational. How do we see things? A common paradigm as an example, this is just the way things are. There's not much I can do about it. That's a standard way of perhaps thinking that I'm sure you can expect the effectiveness that will come out of this. If you want to be genuinely proactive, have choice as the heart of it, you will talk about freedom to choose and the ultimate responsibility for my happiness. And if you think about a stimulus and a response, any stimulus is a response. That's Newton's third law. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. And in that gap between these 2 aspects, stimulus and the response, lies our genuine happiness. I'll come to talk about this mind, body, heart, and spirit at the end, but I'd really like you to see these human endowments, human gifts that were only uniquely given to us as humans, talking about our mind, the self-awareness, talking about the imagination, I beg your pardon, it's relating to our mind, the spirit, talking about our self-awareness, and then understanding what is right and wrong with our heart, and the elements that relate to an independent will. I'll move on because of time. We have seen one aspect of seeing things, and here it is, the stimulus and the response again. The practices. The first talks about reactive moods. You have seen the gap and what we feel we need to change these. is how we really pause and respond based on principles and what we want to have as desired results. The second line talks about blame, accuse, and use the victim language. Language is important. The language we use is so crucial. It's nothing to do, nothing we can do. Just the way I am, it makes me mad. Have to, can't, must, all these phraseology. See how we can perhaps using proactive language, talking about, let's talk about alternatives. I can choose different approaches. I can do. I choose a better response. Choose, choice, preference. And you can see the language just changing, how it can see it will give us a different result. The third line talks about aspects that are about circle of influence and a circle of control. How much can we influence? Where do we put our focus? Usually, we are all concerned about the weather. We're all concerned about outside world. How much can we do? If we concentrate on things that we can influence, we can expand and we can shrink that space and increase our circle of influence. And the last one really talks about being a positive transition person. For organizations, the way you behave perhaps makes people think, what do you want them to be? They can quit. They don't like the organization. They move on. You can see they can be willing compliance, happy just to move on, get the money at the end of the month. But as you go up north of that particular line, you can start seeing the cheerful cooperation, the excitement about what's happening, heartful commitment, and creative excitement. This is what, hopefully, as organizations, we would love to see our thoughts and processes going. The coming few slides are going to be talking about organizations on the wider level, and that's where, hopefully, you'll start seeing the essence of leadership. I'll challenge you that every organization, regardless of how much resources it has, there is going to be this element of persistent chronic issues. If you want to lead, think of what these issues are. At the heart of it is low trust. And the other aspects are very obvious to ourselves. I'm sure I'm going to share with you a roadmap in the coming 4 slides that really takes about all these elements of how we use our mind, our body, our heart, and the spirit. And you will see these are exactly the parameters that I have just used earlier on in defining the principles. The first, from a leader of essence of pathfinding, is a use of our mind. You can see 2 concepts here. One really thinking about, as long as people have a clear job description, they will be fine. Good enough, but a better way, if there is a clear and compelling vision that exists, you're going to find that people will volunteer their best efforts. Here is a thought process. If there is a tools for it, have clarity about what is the job to be done. Element of money is important, even if it's charity, even non-government organizations. A business acumen, where is the money going to come from? And then link it to everything that you want to do to a strategic perspective. On the body level, how we align systems. Everything depends on me as a leader. Think about a proper leader, effective leader, thinking about ensuring success is in creating systems. And here on the right-hand side, you can see the behaviors, the disciplines that relate to aspects of how to have a clarity about focusing on a widely important goal, acting on the lead, not the lag measures, and then really keeping a compelling scoreboard, and then creating a cadence of accountability. 2 more slides, talking about the heart. Here, the essence of leadership is empowerment of people. I need to constantly motivate people. That might be a mindset, but think of a more effective mindset. My job is to release the talent and passion of the people that I work with. And here it is. You found your voice, the intersecting element of the need, the passion, the talent, and the conscience. Founding yours, it's your time to help others to find their voice and see what legacy they want to really impact and leave on to the next. The last spirit is about our spirit, and that is the crux. That's where we started. If you remember, I talked about the character and the personality. The character and the competence are the central element of credibility and trust. I get things done because I'm the boss. That's the formal authority. Think about a more effective way of really being a leader that says, I get things done through personal influence and credibility. That is more informal, but perhaps has a higher moral authority. Dear colleagues, in closing, I want to remind you that leadership is not about titles. It's not about status. It's not about the rank. It's not about the office that we hold. Leadership is a choice, and each and every one of us can have that choice to lead or otherwise. I hope I have given you some food for thought. As I leave here, I hope you leave not just as attendees of this meeting, but as champions of change, equipped to transform our perceptions, our actions, and ultimately our outcomes. Thank you very much for your attention and dedication.
Hello, hello. I think it was a wonderful lecture on leadership by Professor Hani Fawzi, who has been the Vice President of RCOG, and we have a lot of things to learn from the, them in the West, and surely we can exchange our viewpoints and ideas and evolve a better leadership in the future. Dr. Nandita, would you like to say, put it up?
No, I think Dr. Hani really stressed on the leadership qualities that are required, and we're having a beautiful program of FIGO with FOGSI and with other countries where it's a LDI program, leadership development, and I think that's very, very important for the progress and for the doctors to understand how it is, what is communication, and not only help with in delivering lectures or anything, but also communication with the patient, it really helps in. So I think it's fantastic. Thank you, Hani, for a wonderful lecture. Thank you very much.